Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I think if you were to ask anybody, what are you afraid of? Like, be honest, what are you afraid of? And if somebody were to say, nah, nothing, I'm not afraid of anything, they're lying. Yeah, we have fear in our lives, in ourselves, of many different things. And we're going to talk about that today and how to overcome different types of fear and move your life forward. And that's with help from somebody who's the founder and healer of Mindful Healing Heart. Winnie Chan Wang joins us. Winnie, how you doing today?
Great. Thank you, Steve, for having me on again. And I really look forward to connecting with the audience.
Same here. And it's funny when I think about fear, it could be the littlest thing or it could be the biggest thing. But fear does exist in all of our lives at all times.
Yeah. We can be waiting for an appointment and like we can be waiting on the Zoom appointment and the other person's not letting us into the room. And we're like, oh my God, did I get the date wrong? Is there a technical difficulty? We're about to go live. How's it going? It could be something as small as getting on Zoom, having your Wi-Fi, or, going to the airport. It's like, do I have my ticket? Do I have my passport? Am I going to get to the gate on time? Am I going to make my connecting flight? Is my luggage going to get lost? There's those kinds of everyday fear. Am I going to overcook the chicken?
I gotta tell you, I love when we get together because it's like you're reading my mind, and I gotta share with you the first fear. Like when I talked about that before, that clicked in my head was my friend's coming over later. We're gonna barbecue, and I'm thinking, do I have enough gas in the barbecue? Now, maybe it's a minor fear. It's like, I hope I do. And then on the passport thing you just said, my daughter wants to go away on vacation, and we're just the two of us. And I was like, oh, okay, we've never done that before. Couldn't find my passport. So, and I recently moved, and I know it's like, oh God, I'm going to have to go expedite a new passport, blah, 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 blah. But my fear was, what happens if I don't get it in time? So these are minor fears, but why do we think that way, Winnie? Why are we always like worried? Is it worries or is it fears? I wonder about those two as well.
That is a really excellent distinction. Usually it's like a tip of the iceberg thing. If we think about, okay, passport, that's a small thing. What's the worst that's going to happen? It's like, okay, let's say you can't find your passport. You can't go on the plane. You can't go on the vacation. You wasted a bunch of money on air flight and hotel. But what's the worst that's going to happen? It's not like you're going to die. You still have a roof over your head, you still have food. And so we can worry about the small things, but the reason why we get really triggered is because it's like the tip of the iceberg. We have this general, what's going to happen? And really underneath that, there is a bigger fear, which is the fear of unknown, right? I think deep inside, we all want to be control freak. If I'm the queen of the universe, then X, Y, Z are going to happen. I'm going to have a lot of money. I'm going to have a lot of love. I'm going to have a lot of health. I mean, who doesn't want to have health, love, and money? We all want it. The truth is that we can't always have all of that all the time. It's kind of like full moon and new moon. The waves come in and they go out, sunrise and sunset. The truth is that sometimes we catch a cold and then sometimes we recover. Sometimes we are in excellent shape because we work out a lot. And then sometimes we fall off the wagon. Sometimes we fall in love and we have this really great relationship with a friend or our kids or a romantic partner. And then sometimes the relationship is a little bit rocky and then there's conflict. And even money, sometimes we feel like we're killing it. We're making so much money, or in our career, we're writing new books, creating new courses. And then sometimes we can have a little bit of a lull where we're in between projects or we're in between jobs and we feel like, oh my God, it's something wrong with me, right? And so really it all boils down to this fear of unknown. What's going to happen next? And this feeling of almost like ants crawling under the skin, be like, oh my God, it's so uncomfortable to sit with the uncertainty, right? And if we're not comfortable with uncertainty, what's going to happen is our brain, which has a negative bias, is going to generate a lot of doubt. What if I don't find my passport? What if I don't catch my flight? What if I undercook the chicken? What if my kids don't like the chicken I cooked? There's a lot of what if, and so our mind becomes preoccupied. It's like a train, like one thought leads to another thought, leads to another thought, leads to another thought, and pretty soon we have entered a tunnel of darkness.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the snowball down the hill. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And people tell me, instead of thinking, what if I burn the chicken tonight? No, reframe it, your mindset, to say, I'm going to cook chicken. It's going to be great. I can't wait. There's going to be so much flavor. I'm trying a different seasoning. It's going to be awesome. Reframe it that way, because your subconscious doesn't know how to distinguish between the two. All it hears is the negative. And then it's just like the chain around your neck, like, I've cooked the chicken. I got to find what if I can't find the passport? No, I'm going to find it. Guess what, by the way, I did find it.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And I looked, and it was in a box that, part of my move, but I almost feel like it was spiritually guided. But I'm getting details, but I started believing I am going to find it. But that's my point. Like, just take it a positive way, because what's the alternative? Why do you want to go negative? Why think about burning the chicken? No, it's going to be great. It's going to be okay.
So Steve, you hit upon a nail, which is this mindset shift, right? Instead of thinking what's going to go wrong, what about what's perfect about this situation?
Yeah.
Right? Can we find the perfection of the situation? And that being said, sometimes we do end up not finding the passport. Sometimes we do end up undercooking the chicken. So one of my favorite quote is, a bird can relax on a branch, not because it trusts the branch not to break, but because it trusts its ability to fly, right? It trusts its own wings. So we don't have to trust that you can find the passport. We actually don't have control over that. We don't have to trust that the chicken will be properly cooked. We don't have to trust that. What we do get to trust is something much deeper. That's the light. That's the truth of who we are. That's the core of our being. That no matter what happens, we'll find a way. There's a way through every block.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say the chicken is undercooked. Maybe we can drive to KFC and buy fried chicken. It's not the end of the world, right? If we can't find the passport, well, maybe we can have a staycation and play video games. There's always another way to find fulfillment. So pain and pleasure happens like day and night happens. Day is followed by night, and night is followed by day. Pain is followed by pleasure, and pleasure is followed by pain. So in life, we are constantly faced with obstacles like, oh my God, I can't find my keys, or I can't find my wallet, I can't find my phone. I'm sure all the audience can relate to that. at least one time in the last year, you can't find something you need when you need to get out the door and you don't want to be late. It's knowing that it's okay, even if I can't find something, and even if I'm late to the appointment, it doesn't make me less of a person. It doesn't mean the other person would love me less. I think underneath this fear of unknown, let's go down the tip of the iceberg, right? Okay, at the top is, this kind of like everyday surface, I don't know what's going on. And then there's this really deep not knowing. But the fear is, what if I'm not enough? How are other people going to judge me? Oh my God, they're going to think that I'm such a disorganized person. I'm not worthy of them hiring me, or I'm not worthy of my daughter's love because I can't find my passport and I failed to take her on a vacation, right? So underneath that fear of unknown is, how are other people going to judge me for this little obstacle, right? How are other people going to change? Are they going to love me less if I show up late to an appointment? Are they going to love me less if I couldn't afford this vacation? And so the answer is, whether the other person appreciates us or loves us, it actually doesn't depend on our performance, whether we produce a passport or produce, a flavorful chicken. It's actually what we vibrate is what the other person's going to come back to me, right? So if I vibrate fear of judgment, that's really because I'm judging myself. Then I'm really inviting other people to judge me. If I vibrate in, oh, I'm not sure, I have doubts if I'm worthy of being hired, then the other person is going to have doubt as to whether Winnie is worthy of hiring. But the reverse is true. If I come as love, then the other person will be, I can't get enough of Winnie. Wow. It's like bees just can't get enough of honey. If I make sure that I am love, then it doesn't matter if I failed to cook the chicken to perfection. It doesn't matter if I can't find my passport. It doesn't matter if I'm late to my appointment. If I am always in love, then I'm going to attract love and understanding and forgiveness and compassion right back to me, so that even if I'm late, people will still love me and they're not going to really hold that against me.
I totally agree with you. And I'm not just saying that because we're here. I do. And, when you said just before in love, I think we mean practice love, like love yourself, share love, do things out of love, whether you're holding the door for somebody at, the convenience store, you love other people, whether you know them or not. People are cool. Sometimes there's some challenges there. And the other part is that you had said, in terms of worrying about things going wrong, like the chicken and the passport, I think what we forget is we need to trust, like the bird on the branch.
Yes.
Trust that we can fix it or recover from it. It's not a big deal, but you need to trust in yourself that, if you mess that chicken up, I got a plan B. Yeah, no problem. We go to KFC, or
Yes.
we make a different dish with it tomorrow, or I'll heat it up again in the microwave and throw it in a salad. Done. No problem. Same thing with the passport. I was trusting that if I don't find it, I'm going to have to spend a lot of money and expedite one, and, have to go to the post office, blah, 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 blah. There's, work. And there was a piece of me saying, well, what if I don't get it back in time? But I kind of knew that I would get it back in time if I paid. but it's just trusting in yourself that you can pull it off. And I think a lot of us don't trust in ourselves.
Yes. So let's really dive into this trust piece. How can we trust ourselves? So some people think that trust needs to be earned. What's your opinion on that, Steve? Do you think trust has to be earned?
I'm going to take a second. Please allow. I think it does. I think it does. And I think even within yourself, you need to earn that trust, knowing that you've been through different situations and you could handle them and it all worked out okay. But
yes,
I don't think out of the gate, you can open the door and say, yes, I trust, even people. And I have friends. I mean, even a friend I met a year ago, he's a cool guy, just, met him at a sports bar. We just kind of hit it off. And now, we all have different friends. We all hang out together. And I've often said, even 6 months into knowing this guy, I totally trust him, but he earned that trust. And same thing, for me, but I think it's got to be earned.
Exactly. So one of my favorite book is called The Power of Showing Up by Daniel Siegel and Tina Bryson. And they talk about the 4S. So the 4S is safety, soothe, safety, seen, soothe, and secure. So what that means is, let's say, oh my God, I can't find my passport and I'm freaking out and I'm running around the house like a mad chicken. Like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay.
And I was.
So the first S is safety, as in I'm going to create an emotional safety. I'm not going to speak negatively to myself. I'm not going to call myself a loser. I'm not going to call myself names. Oh my God, look, you are so disorganized. You never put things in the right place. So the first safety is really saying, you're okay. You're safe. And not speak to ourselves negatively. The second S is seen. Seen is like to validate, right? So we can say something like, well, if you put 10 people in my shoes, 10 people are going to run around the house like a headless chicken, because I can understand why you are reacting the way that you are. I can understand why you're freaking out because you really want to have a passport and you don't. The third S is soothe, right? So, okay, so now we really can't find the passport, but it's okay. Even if we don't go on the vacation, it's okay, right? So it's having these soothing techniques, and maybe it's breathing, maybe it's taking a bath and relaxing and just allowing and trusting the process. And what I love is that the final S is called secure. And how we arrive at secure is if we can repeatedly do safe, seen, and soothe. Safe, seen, and soothe, safe, seen, and soothe. So if we do this over and over and over again, then we begin to build a track record. Oh yeah, it doesn't matter if however big obstacle come in our way, right? Doesn't matter if this feels like the sky is falling.
Mm-hmm.
I have a track record of being safe, seen, and soothed. And so if I do this enough of times, I become secure. So part of the thing is that if we were parented with the 4S as children, then we would feel secure with our parents and we would feel secure in ourselves. So trust is really hopefully something that we have learned to develop with us in childhood. But just because our parents didn't give us or parent with the 4S, we can reparent ourselves with the 4S. So what I have done is, okay, so it doesn't matter what happens, I'm going to practice safe, seen, and soothe. And I do that enough of times, I begin to trust myself. And so that was really the core of how we begin to cultivate this trust, right? The bird can trust it can fly because it's flapped its wings many times before, right? So it does take practice. It does take embodiment. And so a lot of people walk around like, oh, I don't know if I can trust my partner. I don't know if I can trust the people I work with. I don't know if I can trust my kids. I don't know if I can trust my spouse. Now, listen up, guys. If you have trouble trusting the people in your life, that's because you have trouble trusting yourself.
I agree. But I have a question.
Okay, just let me finish this thought.
Okay, absolutely.
So then the next question is, how do we really cultivate this trust in ourselves? And that is why I wrote the book and have this course and create this online community. All of that you can find from my website, www.mindfulhealingheart.com. Because don't you want to gift yourself this gift of trust? Don't you want to trust yourself, right? So yeah, I feel like, I can chant mantra, be like, I trust myself, I trust myself, I trust myself, I trust myself, I trust myself. That doesn't mean I can actually trust myself, because I need to embody the trust. I need to vibrate in the trust. And that's why I wrote the book and have this course to really do the energy healing so that everyone can see, wow, in my life, I've had a lot of challenges and I've had success turning all the lemons into lemonade. All right, Steve, it's your turn. Take it away.
No, I was just about to say what you said, in that you take a look at our lives, everybody watching, everybody listening, and where you were years ago and where you are now, and the things that you overcame, whatever they may be, but you did, because you had to trust. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten there. And maybe there was, maybe you didn't totally trust every single time, but there's your scene, with the 4 S's. The only thing I would say is, you said before that, you trust this person, that person, that person. If you don't trust them, maybe you don't trust yourself, unless they've given you reason not to trust them. So that would be my disclaimer. Yeah, right?
So that is a really good point. So in one of the translations of Tao Te Ching, there's a quote. It says, trust people who are trustworthy. Trust people who are not trustworthy. That is true trust. Now, maybe this is a little bit controversial, and I welcome the audience to call in and leave comments. And by the way, mindfulhealingheart@gmail.com if you want to talk about this trust issue some more. What does it mean? Trust people who are not trustworthy, and that is true trust. Is this fundamental idea? Do you think that the universe is out to get you and you have to guard against that all the time? If that is your view, you have every right to do that. And I completely respect if you want to think that the world is out to get you and you have to defend and protect and guard. But also there's another possible way, is to look at the world as everything is happening for me. There's perfection in everything, right? So for example, I had a car accident, and you can say the car accident is bad, but it was because of the car accident that I had the spiritual awakening. So yeah, I can guard myself and try to prevent myself from having a car accident, but I needed the car accident so that I can have a spiritual awakening, right? I had a labor accident, when I was giving birth to my second child, and it caused a spinal injury. So you can say, oh, maybe I could have done more research on the OBGYN and yada, yada, yada. But really, accidents happen, right? Like we can't really be control freak. And, that's a really tiring way to live, to always be not taking any risks and guarding. Or I can say, I needed that spinal injury so that I would become an acupuncturist and become a medical intuitive, right? So it's, what if we came with the assumption that everything in our lives is happening to our perfection, and that every lesson is to help us serve humanity, right? So I needed the spinal injury, I needed the car accident, I needed all of those things so that I can serve humanity in the way that I do now. So if I want to adopt that, the whole cosmos loves me, supports me, protects me, and 24/7 I'm being divinely guided, and all the time I'm loved and supported. And I think that the opposite of fear, besides trust, is also feeling supported, feeling like the world's got me, right? And that if I ever need anything, I just ask for help and help comes.
I agree. And I truly agree that things happen for you. You might not like it. And sometimes maybe somebody will do something that you might not totally trust them, whatever it might be. But at the same time, it happened for a reason. It's to make you a better person and a better person for other people. Um, it's challenging sometimes to accept that. And if you need help, it's there. I have a friend, talks about money all the time. It's like, I should be doing a lot better. I wish. Well, I said, well, you know what? Have that mindset. It's going to come to you. Think that way. You're not thinking that way. You're like a car going down the road trying to figure life out. Focus on that and it'll happen to you. But yeah, and I know it's such a cliche to say that, this happened to me. No, it happened for you, but it really
Yes,
did. It really did. Yeah.
yes. And so what I have discovered is every single time I experience fear, every time I feel like, I'm in a dark tunnel, the first thing I do is I apologize to myself.
Hmm.
Why? Because I apologize for not knowing how much I am loved, protected, and supported by the whole cosmos. So, I want to invite you, Steve, and everybody who's listening right now, that every time you encounter an obstacle, that the first thing you do is, I apologize for not knowing how much I'm loved, protected, and supported. And I apologize for having given myself the negative information that generated this fear. I apologize for having judged myself, having spoken negatively to myself, having thought that I'm not enough and I'm not lovable, and having created all this frustration and suffering for myself. This is really why I wrote the book and created the course, because I really want to help everyone give up living in frustration and suffering. We don't get to choose pain and pleasure, unfortunately. It's like pain and pleasure happens. It's just like day and night. But how we respond to the pain and pleasure, if we resist, then we're going to have suffering and frustration. If we open our heart to accept that everything that happens is truly divine love, then wow, every pain becomes an opportunity to purify, and every pleasure becomes very deep fulfillment. And so I like to think that the people who laugh the hardest they also cry the hardest, but not because they're suffering, but just because they process their pain really fast. I like to think that I can process my pain in 90 seconds. Actually, I made this video called the top 5 moves to process any emotion in 90 seconds. And so the idea is just you do these 5 moves and then you can process it.
Love it. And by the way, I want to add, you did, and we're at it, like we're actually overtime, but you did the 4 S's before. So I'm going to add a P to the pain and the pleasure. And that extra P is patience. Got to have patience, because all the things that we're talking about, it'll be figured out. And I always say it will be revealed. And you may be going through something like, oh, how did that happen? Why is it me? Why? Tap the brakes and wait to find out. And eventually you will. The website is mindfulhealingheart.com. And you talked about a masterclass for this. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, so you can get access to the free masterclass and also the free video for the top 5 moves to process emotions in 90 seconds when you join the online community. So you just click on community and join, and you'll have access.
Terrific. Always great talking with you, Winnie. It's your energy is amazing. Breath of fresh air. We've all been through a lot of stuff, and you keep it moving, and it's admirable. And we all have fear, but let's get rid of some of that fear. We really don't need it. You don't need it in your life. And you know what? You'll find the passport. The chicken will be fine. It'll be okay.
That's right.
All right, Winnie. Thanks a lot. I look forward to catching up with you next time.